You absolutely cannot tear down my cabin without proper legal authorization. I am a sitting federal judge, and this is a massive violation of due process. That was Karen's voice cracked, desperate, echoing across a muddy construction site as her precious little HOA kingdom crumbled all around her. And I'm telling you, it was one of the most satisfying sights I've ever witnessed. The demolition crew stood there frozen, hard hats in hand, unsure what the hell they'd wandered into. Let me back up a sec, because how we got here, man, it's a tale I could never have made up. My name's Benjamin Harrison, distant relation to the old president, though my branch got the common sense, not the power. I've been a federal district judge in North Georgia for 15 years, dealing with every kind of civil rights mess and power trip you can imagine, but nothing quite prepared me for the circus that was Whispering Pines Estates. You'd never pick me out as a judge in a lineup. I drive a 10-year-old sedan. I like my house simple. And my real pride is the hunting cabin I built with my own hands up in the mountains. 12 acres, creek bubbling by the porch, just woods and sky, and the kind of silence you can actually feel, you know? That placey, it's where I go to remember who I am. It's not fancy, but it's mine. No HOA, no snooping neighbors, just friendly hellos at the gas station and the occasional potluck if someone shoots a deer big enough to brag about. It was peace for 20 solid years, until about 3 years back, when a developer rolled in with big plans for a luxury community right next door. Whispering Pines Estates gated, manicured, the kind of place where folks complain about the color of your mailbox and call it preserving property values. I didn't love it, but hey, people have a right to build on their land. Well, I didn't know. They'd start buying up everything around them quietly, at first snapping up old family lots and bringing in a certain breed of resident. The kind that thinks rules are the same as morals, and their rules are the only ones that matter. Next thing I know, I get a letter from the Whispering Pines Homeowners Association signed by the illustrious Karen Mitchell herself, HOA president and self-appointed savior of the neighborhood. According to her, my cabin was suddenly within their boundaries, and I owed $3,000 in back dues plus a long list of so-called violations. You know the type. There's always a Karen. I called her up to clear things up. She was pure HOA, all nasal authority and fake politeness, barely letting me finish a sentence before jumping in with, "Mr. Harrison, your property is an eyesore, and you're bringing down our community." I tried reason, tried explaining the facts 20 years outside any HOA, deed clear as day, never signed a single thing. But Karen wasn't having it. "You'll pay what you owe, or we'll take legal action, and if you don't fix that cabin, we'll take care of it for you." Yeah, that happened. I wish I could say I was surprised. But I've seen enough from the bench to know when someone's running a scam. So I did my homework, dug up the original plats, tracked every sneaky boundary amendment they'd filed with the county, most with zero notice to people like me. And wouldn't you know it, all roads led back to Karen and her husband's law firm. Turns out, she'd been the force behind roping in any property she could grab just to fatten up their HOA and, not coincidentally, their legal fees. Still, I try to handle things like an adult formal letter, request for documentation, keep it civil. Karen responded with another demand, now over $5,000, and sent a convoy to inspect my property, her in designer hiking boots, flanked by board members and some jittery guy with a camera. I politely reminded them it was private land, but she acted like she was running a military op, shrieking about community standards and legal obligations. I almost laughed, but I know bullies only stop when they hit a wall they can't push. And the real game started. Certified letters, threats of liens, HOA patrols crawling past my driveway day and night. The final straw? Karen showed up during my annual hunting party at Judges, quietly grilling steaks, when she started filming us from the road, yelling about unauthorized gatherings. My guests' legal minds all call and decide if they should be offended or just order popcorn. That's when I started digging deeper. Every move she made left a trail, a pattern of harassment, administrative boundary grabs, money funneling right back to her husband's law firm. It wasn't just me. I found at least a dozen other owners who'd been strong-armed, most caving rather than take on the legal cost. But I've spent my career teaching bullies that some folks bite back. I got Marcus Williams, a pit bull of a property rights attorney, on the case. We filed complaints with the county, challenged the HOA's so-called lien, demanded full disclosure of their finances. The county started sniffing around. Turns out most of those boundary changes were approved without any of the required public hearings. Even Karen's husband's firm got pulled into the mess for pushing shady paperwork. Karen didn't back down, she doubled down. More complaints, more threats, even trying to slap a foreclosure notice on my cabin. But the legal tables were turning. The county launched a formal review. The state bar started sniffing for ethics violations, and the HOA board once so united started crumbling. A couple board members flipped, dumping emails that painted Karen as a bully who wanted to make an example of holdouts. The mediation came only after Marcus dragged them into federal court for civil rights violations. Sitting in that conference room, watching Karen try to bluff her way out was a thing of beauty. Her own lawyer knew she was toast. By day's end, they agreed to pull every claim, kill the lien, pay my fees, and promise no more harassment. Plus, the county reversed those boundary grabs, freeing every property they tried to rope in. But bullies like Karen never learn. While we were finalizing the settlement, she'd quietly hired a demolition crew, set them loose on my cabin with forged authorization. The only thing that saved my place? Deputy Johnson, the local sheriff, called me before a single board came down. When I arrived, Karen was in meltdown, screaming at the workers, trying to have me arrested on my own land. The look on her face when I laid out the law, let's just say it was worth every ounce of hassle. She was arrested for trespass and attempted property destruction. Her husband's firm got sanctioned. She lost her seat on the HOA, and that cabin still stands. The new HOA board has learned the value of minding their own business, and I get more peace than ever, plus the satisfaction of knowing every weekend there's a little victory for due process. But, I keep thinking about how easy it is for these power-hungry types to ruin lives if you let them. My case changed things for a lot of people around here. The county tightened rules on HOAs. Neighbors who'd been bullied finally stood up. And Karen? Last I heard, she moved out of state, maybe somewhere with less history, or maybe just less patience for her brand of justice. So, if you're out there fighting your own HOA battles, remember, document everything, know your rights, and never let a bully write your story for you. The law isn't magic, but it works when you use it. Tell me, have you ever tangled with an HOA? Drop your stories or your thoughts on justice and community in the comments. Let's talk about where the line is between order and overreach, because at the end of the day, this isn't just about property. It's about standing up when someone tries to push you off your own porch.